Okay, we're up and running here. I'm hoping you guys got my messages. Hoping people are logging in here. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Rough day. Rough day. Let me know who you are as you're checking in. My internet just went back up. I'm sending an email to everyone now. Let me know, guys. Shoot me your name in chat. Okay, yes, dude. Tough day, Oscar. Real tough day. But I think we're going to pull it off. Hopefully we got 3 people. There's 14, 15 people in the class. So I'm hoping if they got my email, they check their email again. I just sent another email out to you guys. So let me know, guys. I see there's 3 people on. Let me know who you are. Hopefully we've got everyone in here. No one's replied to my email, so I'm hoping Edgar, thank you. Good. Okay. Thank you, guys. Whew. That was going to be a rough one. Yeah, just came home about 40 minutes ago, and my wife says her phone's acting up, and my son comes in and slams the door and says, "Why isn't the iPad working?" And turned the router on and off, did everything that you do, as a customer, and ended up calling Xfinity, and they have like a pre-recorded message that there's an outage in the area. So I may not be the only one. That might be an issue for us as well. But I mean, we've got 3 people here. I'm wondering if this is going to work. Now it looks like we only have 2. Who's still here? Let me know. Just send something real quick. Blanca. Hello, Blanca. Edgar and Blanca, do you guys have Wi-Fi? Or excuse me, do you guys have Xfinity? If there's anyone who has Xfinity internet, let me know. Okay. Okay, so Blanca has Xfinity and she's up and running. So I'm hoping they've got everyone up and running. We only have 5 people, so just sit tight. Let's get Monica's in. We got 6 people now, maybe a little bit more. And I'm hoping to get going here shortly. Oscar, you have Xfinity, so you're up and running. Okay, so it sounds like they had it up and running. I don't know if it affected everyone, but we were definitely down. Anthony, hello. Yeah, guys, I'm going to turn around here. I'm going to get some stuff situated here while we wait. So give me a minute. I was going to, again, I don't know if you guys got your email or not, but I was going to postpone class till 8:00 because the message I got from Xfinity was that it would be rectified by 7:40. But then I was sitting here at around 6:32, and my wife mentioned that she was surfing Amazon and was back up and running. So let me grab my notes. Let me get a couple of things, and I'll be right back. Okay, just sit tight. All right. Sorry, I had to set up my camp chair. Okay, so it looks like we have more people here. Maybe I'm hoping we have 6, but more than 6 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. There seems to be more than 6 people. I'm not sure if the number that's saying that's logged in is accurate. So I'm assuming that there's more because more people have checked in the chat here. Peter, hi. So I'm hoping people didn't read the email and now are waiting until 8 o'clock. What a disaster. I did send another couple of emails. Let me see if I've gotten any responses, and of course not. So here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to, if this number stays at 6, which I have a feeling it's going to, again, let me count here. Oscar, Edgars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8. Okay. So it looks about like half the class is here now, which is fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start. Hopefully more people check in and are able to tune in. I'm going to go ahead and get going. And then I'll try to go live again at 8 o'clock. And you guys don't have to obviously be a part of that if you're here now. Go ahead when you're done, do your assignment. Alexander, hello. Go ahead and do your assignment, and you'll be done for the evening. And then I'll go live again at 8 for the people who aren't here, and maybe I pick up a couple of stragglers. So again, if you're just checking in, I sent out an email because my internet was down. Apparently, Xfinity had an outage. Sent an email saying I'd go live at 8. And it looks like we got half of us. So I'm thinking maybe half of the class was probably like, sweet, I'll just check in at 8, and probably haven't checked their phones or for any updates. So whatever, moving on. All right, here we go. Wham, bam, let's get this done. So we're going to talk quickly today about really about finances and how to go about starting to handle your finances in an attempt to not have money as a source of stress, which is hard to do because, frankly, money will always be a source of stress for most people. I mean, even when you have a lot of money, it can be very stressful. But most of us are probably living a life where maybe we're check to check. Maybe we're a little bit more than check to check. Maybe we're not even making it. So money's always an issue, but there are a couple things I learned, unfortunately, probably not too late in life, but some things I wish I would have learned earlier about managing your finances, about how to just do a couple of things right now that will make your life when you're 35 significantly better. And a couple of little lessons, right? One of them being, it's not really how much money you make, it's what you do with it that matters. And that's what the steps are today that I'm kind of outlining for you, how to avoid financial stress, mainly by coming up with a plan, a little 6-step plan, and we'll just go right into it. So number one, the best way to avoid financial stress is to simply stay out of debt. Kind of a no-brainer. A couple of things. Obviously, taking on big payments is challenging enough, but it doesn't always necessarily need to be a car that puts you under, or a credit card that puts you under. It can simply be, hi Maria, that's okay. It can simply be your lifestyle. And what do I mean by that? Money's finite, right? The bottom line is, you only have so much pie, right? There's only so much pie, and you've got to divvy up that pie the way you see fit. Now, with that said, when it comes to money, when it comes to economics, every decision you make is a values-based decision, right? What do I mean by that? I'll use a real life example. This really happened, right? So this was probably about 8 years ago. I was coaching baseball at Hancock. We had a player who came from, not a great background, Santa Maria kid. His mom had multiple children from multiple men. None of them were around. He was one of like 8 kids. And I think there was maybe like 6, 7 fathers. Kids kind of spread all over the place. And he didn't have a lot, but he was a really talented baseball player. And we knew that if we could just get him through the system, he had a shot. He had a shot to go get a degree. He had a shot to maybe play professional baseball. He had a shot to get out of the lifestyle that he was, for the most part, stuck in. About 2 weeks into school, we get an email from the admissions people that he was dropped from his classes. And so we called him in. Why'd you get dropped from your classes? He said, well, I didn't have the money to pay my health fee. Okay, so back then, I think your student health fee now is maybe like $22. Back then, the health fee was $17, right? So he didn't have $17. And excuse my language here, but immediately I called bullshit. I mean, I didn't say it out loud, but I'm thinking, nah, dude, you've got like the new iPhone 5 or whatever it was at the time. You have tattoos. You're totally sleeved up. The guy had thousands of dollars worth of tattoos, and you're telling me you can't afford a $17 health fee. Because I guess financial aid doesn't cover that. I don't really understand that, but he didn't have the money. Right. So they dropped him because he didn't pay a $17 student health fee. So the head coach, I see him reach into his pocket, gives the kid a $20 bill and says, go pay your health fee, get enrolled back in your classes, get back out on the baseball field. Thank you, coach. Okay. All right. We'll see you at practice. Kid walks away. We never saw him again. Right. Never saw him again. But the moment he walked out of the office, I said, why'd you do that? And he goes, well, he can't afford it. He really struggles. I go, dude, he's not struggling. Look at all this stuff he has. He has a phone. He has, a multi-$100 phone, whatever it was at the time, maybe a $400 phone at the time. I don't remember. But you don't have a $17 student health fee. That's a values-based decision, right? You don't, you're not planning for a house, but you'll plan to buy a car that has a car payment of $500 a month and is a gas guzzler, right? That's a values-based decision. So what I mean by staying out of debt is control your lifestyle and understand that in the accumulation of wealth, in the accumulation of money, in you growing yourself financially, there's got to be at least some sense of delayed gratification. In other words, you're not a baller, right? You're not a baller. Don't be a baller. But I'm not saying someday you can't be a baller. You probably can. But for most people, the financial corner you don't really turn that financial quarter until like you're well into your 30s, and even for some people in their 40s. For me, it wasn't till my late 30s that I was like really starting to put money away. I was able to buy the home that, kind of like the home I thought we should be in. It's a bigger home. We kind of outgrew our first home, our smaller home. There's a sense of delayed gratification in that, right? So obviously staying out of debt is the most important thing. But how do you stay out of debt? More importantly, how do you grow your money? Because you have to grow your money. If you were to put $100 in the bank right now, and you were to say, well, I need this $100 for 20 years down the road from now, that $100 won't be $100 anymore. It'll be less. It won't be more. It'll be less. In other words, when I was your age, a candy bar was literally 65 cents, 50 to 65 cents. Now, done deal, right? It's at least $1, if not more, right? So how do you avoid debt? How do you grow your money? Number one, pay yourself first, right? Always pay yourself first. So you have the everyday person who has to eat, go to school, you need gas, you have your kids, you have whatever, you want to go get a coffee, you have your regular life. That's fine. That's what most of that money is for. However, you have the entity. In other words, you almost want to treat yourself like a business. You have, Monica, the person, but you also have Monica, the business, right? So Monica, the person, is the one who is every day using the debit card, every day. Hi, Laura. Every day, buying Starbucks, buying dinner, buying lunch, buying gas. But you also have Monica, the business, Monica, the entity that has to grow. So taking 20%, so $1 out of every $5 that you get, taking 20% and tucking that away into an account you don't touch is absolutely crucial. As a matter of fact, if you become if you go to, I'm a contractor, right? So if you go to contractor school to learn how to become a contractor and to take the state contractor's examination for whatever you want to be, an electrician, a builder, plumber, whatever it is, they'll tell you the way you bid jobs. And you bid jobs by calculating all your materials and your upcharge, calculating all your labor and your upcharge, and then you add 20%. And why do you add 20%? Because you can't go from job to job, right? Just like you can't go from check to check. You can't go from check to check and just cross your fingers that you're going to get a raise, or cross your fingers that next job is going to come and it's going to be a better paying job. A lot of the times it may be a better paying job, but the cost of living has gone up and you're still at a net negative or a net neutral. So putting that, as soon as you get that check, taking 20% out with direct deposit, it's super easy. Taking that 20% out and setting it aside. And frankly, I would put it in an account that you don't ever see. I did that. I struggled for many years saving the amount of money that I need to save. And I realized, you know what? I go online and there's my checking account and there's my business checking account. And there's my savings account. It's so easy to move money in there and start using it. I went into another bank, opened up account. I have like my paycheck from Hancock. I have that money direct deposited over there. I don't even know how much I have. I honestly don't. It's just tucked away over there. Every once in a while, I'll look at a statement and go, oh, sweet. Okay, cool. I don't even touch it, right? So pay yourself first. The goal you should be going for is 20%, right? But even 5% helps. 10% helps. 2% helps. Whatever it is, start saving that money. Number two, next to or right underneath paying yourself, right, being at that 20%, is invest immediately. I would start investing now. And by investing, I don't mean, you're on your Ally account or your Robinhood account and every day you're going to wake up and maybe buy some stock and you're going to invest in the futures market or the weed market, all of these kind of terms that get thrown around for people who are into stocks and bonds and things like that. I would, the very same bank that you're setting your 20% aside for, I would walk in there and I would say, I would like to talk to someone about opening up an individual retirement account, an IRA, right? It's called an IRA. Sometimes they're called Roth IRAs. And the difference between a regular IRA and a Roth IRA is just when you pay taxes. On a Roth IRA, you're paying taxes when you deposit money, so you'll pay taxes now. a regular traditional IRA or IRA, you will you'll pay taxes when you draw from it, like when you're 55, 65, down the road. Why invest now? Well, I'll tell you why. The difference in compound interest, right? The difference that compound interest can get you just inside of 1 decade, but definitely inside of 2 decades, for most people, if you're putting the right amount of money away, can be up to like $30,000, right? So what am I telling you? If you wait till you're 30, you're going to lose out on 10, 15 grand. If you wait till you're 40, you're going to lose out on 20, 30 grand. That's a lot of money, right? A lot of money. So now here we are, right? Out of every $5 we get paid, we're going to set $1 aside, right? So we're going to set that 20%. Now we're going to take 5% or 10% of that, right? We're going to take some of that and move it over to an IRA every month, right? $50 a month, $100 a month. It doesn't matter. Grow it now. Take advantage of the one thing that you as young people have. It's time, right? Time is on your side. So use that and start investing as soon as possible. And don't be freaked out. Like, I don't know anything about stocks. You don't need to know anything about stocks. When you walk into a bank and you tell them you want to invest in an IRA, they'll give you, do you want to invest in like an A fund, a B fund, or a C fund? And an A fund is like hyper aggressive. You want to grow money now. A B fund is medium, and a C fund is slow growing. Over time, this will build. Just pick one. Pick B or C. Tell them you want to invest in this for the long term. They'll say, oh, okay, well, most people pick C, most people pick B, so on and so forth. But just start getting your toes wet, start getting your money in the market, okay? Okay, so pay yourself 20% every time. Pay yourself first. Get to that 20% mark if you're not there. Invest. Take some of that, set it aside, grow it, so you're not losing money to inflation, right? Grow that a certain percentage of that 20% that you're saving. Number 3, start a business. Okay. Again, you're like, dude, what are you talking about? Just start a business. Yeah. Start a business right now. Fill out a business license application for the city of Santa Maria or the county of Santa Barbara. Start Alexander's dog walking service, right? Or Peter's lawn mowing service, or Laura Pacheco car detailing. It doesn't matter. Call some people, say, hey, let me detail your car, right? Pay me $40 and I'll clean your car. Why am I saying this? Because I realize a lot of you may still be on your parents' income tax return, but at some point you're not going to be. And when you're not, you better have a tax shelter, right? You better have a way to hide your income and to keep a little bit more of your income. Keep it away from Gavin Newsom's greedy hands, right? What a business allows you to do is when you file your income tax return, you fill out one more form. It's called the Schedule C. And what a Schedule C does is you list all of your income in addition to like your regular job. Okay, you list all your income, and then you list all your expenditures, right? So your expenditures can now include a lot of different things that you were previously not able to write off. Okay, what do I mean by that? I went and bought a pair of new boots last week. That's a uniform for my work. You get uniform tax deductions, and they're tax deductible. My sunglasses, tax deductible. My car, tax deductible. My gas, my mileage, tax deductible. My phone, I write off 100% of my phone for my business, 100%. When I go to the post office and get stamps, office supplies, tax deductible. Pens, computer, printer cartridges. To be completely honest with you, you're even allowed to write off a certain amount of food and beverage and entertainment every day. So if I'm out doing work and I go to lunch, tax deductible. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to spend money just to write it off. You don't get every dollar back that you spent, but you do get a percentage of it back. And when you run a business and you start getting into the receipts get into the amount of, 200, 250, 300 million, or, $500,000, 300,000, $500,000, that money adds up real quick. Right. So starting a business is a good way to legally protect yourself from additional tax burdens. Right. I know a lot of people that have a little side gig, and they'll tell you, yeah, I only made $1,000 this year, but I saved $5,000 in taxes. Right? Pretty important. And by the way, you do not have to show profit. There is no law requiring you to show profit. So if you start Johnny's car wash, mobile car wash, or car detailing, and you have mileage and uniform and office supplies and so on and so forth, and you only washed 5 cars, that's all the business you got, and you're upside down $2,000, that's okay. That's okay. You'll pay less taxes as a result. It's great, right? So pay yourself that 20%, invest, start a business. Okay. Number 4, evaluate your financial future, right? Now, a lot of people will sit down and say, oh, sit down and write out a budget. That works too. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you know how much money you make, roughly. You know how much money you go through, roughly. But do you know how much things are going to cost in 5 years? Do you know how much you're going to make in 5 years? Most of you, you're all here because you're going to school, right? What school are you going to? Have you figured that out? Because I've lived in San Diego, I've lived in Orange County, I've lived in Sacramento. Rent in Sacramento is vastly different than rent in San Diego. Rent in Orange County is different than pretty much everywhere in the country. San Jose, good luck renting there. There's a big difference between, Sac State and UCLA. Just financially, there's just a big gap. Have you gone to the Department of Labor statistics and looked at how much people in your industry make? Compare that to how much you're going to pay for your degree. Some of you, it might be a smart play to get off your parents' income tax return, right? It might be. And I'll tell you why. When you apply for financial aid, they look at somebody's financial history. And if you're on your parents, they look at your parents, right? So they take your parents' income tax return and they have an idea of how much mom and dad are going to give you. And if you've ever applied for financial aid, you get a number, right? An EFC number, which stands for expected family contribution. If you have an EFC number that's really high, you get very little financial aid. If you have an EFC number that's very low, you get more financial aid. If you have an EFC number that's 0, you get full financial aid, right? So whose income do you really want them evaluating? Your parents or yours, right? So evaluate, crunch some numbers, talk to mom and dad. Hey, I'm thinking about going to Fresno State. I'm thinking about going to Grand Canyon University. Here's how much it's going to cost. How much are you going to be able to help? Here's what I get at financial aid. What's the gap? Right? The idea of saving money for college is great, but the idea of saving money for life is even better, right? Because I know a lot of people who save money for college and they go away to college and then they come back from college and they are freaking broke. Not only are they broke, they're in the red, right? So don't be so short-sighted about going to college and having money for college. Come up with a plan on how to grow your money, right? 20%, invest, start a business, evaluate your future finances. And lastly, and definitely not least, because this is the ultimate side hustle of all side hustles, you need to buy a home. That's the last thing. You need to buy a home as soon as possible. Why do I say that? For a couple of reasons. Number one, when you rent, you're building wealth for somebody else. You're not building wealth for yourself. Okay. When you pay a mortgage, you are literally investing in your future, right? And to be completely honest with you, I mean, barring a housing crisis or a market crash, it's the quickest way to have what I call passive income, right? So let me explain. I bought my first home in 2000, the end of 2009. So 2010, excuse me, 2010. And you guys probably don't know this. Some of you are probably too young, but in 2010, the housing market had already crashed. The bubble had already popped. So the housing prices were really low. So I bought a house just on the backside of Rigetti High School it was listed at $215,000. I put down $7,000 and I financed $207,000, right? I think my mortgage payment was like, I don't know, $1,500. By 2016, the market had increased. The value of our home was at $355,000. But here's the great thing. I had paid off. I had made principal payments, right? I was making my payments. So not only did I gain what we call equity, right? As the market went up, because my home, I bought at 207 and now it's worth 355. So, what is that? 140 some $1,000 in equity. But I was also making payments every month. I never missed a payment. So I owed under 200,000. I think I owed, I don't know, like $1.85. So by the time we were done, we almost profited $200,000. Okay. So do the math. I was there from 2010 to 2006. So in 6 years, I passively made about $175,000. Right. So if you divide, I'm terrible at math. So let me do this. If you divide $175,000 by 6, that's how much money I made a year. And this isn't for my job. My job, I made my money. This is the money I made just by paying my mortgage. Right? By paying my mortgage and letting the market go back up, I made $30,000 extra a year. Who does that by just paying their mortgage? The only way you can do that is by paying a mortgage, right? An extra $30,000 just for paying your bills, done deal, right? If you're renting, you're paying someone else's bills. You're making that $30,000 for them, and you could be making that $30,000 for you. You start getting into the market. You start putting that 20% aside. And like I said, delayed gratification. These numbers aren't right in front of you. This wasn't in the bank and I'm looking at it grow. I mean, yeah, my 20% that I'm putting away, I look at grow, but the stocks bounce around, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I knew how much roughly the market was for my house and I knew how much I owed on my house. But by the time my house closed and saw the hard numbers, I mean, it was like it just hits you. It's like, holy cow. I made an extra $30,000 a year the last 6 years. And it wasn't cash that I had, money I had. It was my overall wealth, my personal wealth. My property had increased in value. That property is in my name. I was making the payments. I profited from just making my payments, right? So here's the catch about buying a house. You got to watch your debt. Okay, because the way they qualify buyers, in other words, the way they make sure that you're someone who they want to loan money to buy a home, they look at what they call your debt to income ratio, right? So when you do debt to income, obviously they add up all your debt and they compare it to your income. But there's two parts of that debt. There's the front end and the back end. The front end is all the debt you currently have. So let's say your car payment and your credit card bill and your student loan payment add up to $500 a month. Okay, there's that 500. Then the back end of that, they add the loan cost, right? So if you want a 30-year, 30-year fixed $300,000 loan at 3% is probably, I don't know, I'm just throwing numbers out, maybe $1,500 a month, right? So 500, 1,500, $2,000, right? So you have $2,000. That debt cannot be 40%, in most situations, 40 to 45, in some loans, 50%. It cannot exceed roughly 45% of your income. So at $2,000 in debt, that means you're probably gonna have to make $4,000 a month, right? And for some people, you're like gasping. Yeah, I get it. You're probably gonna have to find a better job. But what really qualifies most buyers is having little to no debt. In other words, most real estate agents will tell you it's better to have zero debt and no money in hand than debt with money in hand, right? Does that make sense? Most of the time, a real estate agent will tell you, just take that money you have, pay off all your debt. You'll be better off. And the reason being is because you'll qualify for a better loan. In other words, you'll qualify for a lower loan rate, right? Okay. And equity, man. Equity, right? So here's your assignment for the night. Couple of things. I'm going to type this in here. Number one, I want you to Google two terms. Google two terms. Compound interest. Ooh, I can't spell right now. Google two terms, compound interest and equity, as it refers to a home loan or a mortgage. Explain both. Okay, so there's your lecture assignment, right? And don't forget your other assignment in Canvas that's due tonight as well. Google two terms. One of them is compound interest, as it refers to like just investing, right? And the other term is equity, and as it pertains to home loans or mortgages, right? Explain them. Just explain to me. Just type compound interest dash explain it. Equity dash explain it. That's your assignment. Okay. So again, just to recap, 20%, dudes and dudettes, pay yourself first. You deserve it. That's why you're working. You're working to grow. You're not working to just get by. You're working to grow. So take that 20%, set it aside, and grow. Don't look at it as something you don't have. Look at it as something you get, right? It's a gift to you. Give yourself that gift. Give yourself that 20%. Don't piss it away, right? And if you can't do 20, do 10. If you can't do 10, do 5. If you can't do 5, do 1, right? Do 1. Take all your change, get a water jug, and put it in there, right? I did that. I still do it. Got it right over there in my garage, right over there. Every time I walk in from my car, I dump all my change in there. Admittedly, it's few and far between these days. My guess is I probably have, I don't know, $400 in there. Someday I'll take the kids. We'll go cash it all out and go to Disneyland, right? Pay yourself that 20%. Invest right away. Start an IRA. Start putting money away. Take advantage of compound interest right now. There's absolutely no reason why you should not do this. No reason at all. Go to your bank, open up an IRA, put $50 a month, let it sit. When you're 40, hit me up, say thank you. And I'll say, you're welcome. I know, I'm the smartest guy ever. Start a business. I'm telling you, the tax benefits are through the roof. They're way good. Doesn't matter what you do. Wash windows, mow lawns, clean cars, clean houses, walk dogs, take care of old people, DoorDash. I don't care. Hustle, 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 hustle. Be a hustler. You'll make that money and your life will get better. 100%. Okay. Start a business. Evaluate your financial future. What do you think you need when you want to live on your own? What do you think you need when you want to go to college? What is California going to look like in 20 years? Ask yourself that. What's it going to look like in 20 years? It's not going to look like what it looks like now, right? It's not. It's simply not. If you think homes are going to be cheaper in Santa Maria in 20 years, you're wrong. You're wrong, right? Now, admittedly, there might be a market crash and things like that, but for the most part, California is only getting more expensive, okay? And buy a home as soon as possible. Equity, equity, equity. I got a question here. Do you have any advice regarding investment apps like Acorns? Yeah, get it. Hell yeah, get it. Get Acorns. Put money away. Get Robinhood. The thing I heard about Robinhood is you don't have to buy a full stock. Like Google's $1,500. I'm not dumping $1,500 in Google, but I'll dump 500. I'll dump 200, and Robinhood lets you do that. I have a number of investments. I have a retirement with Hancock. I have a 403 with Hancock, which is like another retirement. I have a mutual fund with American Funds, which is a very reputable company. And I also I have a 529 plan for my kids. I put money away for them. It's for college or educational purposes down the road. And I have an Ally account, right? And I just, every once in a while, I just pick some companies that I trust and I like and that are doable. Like I bought Scott's Miracle-Gro. I don't know about you guys. Scott's Miracle-Gro has been on fire the last like 2 years. I bought it when it was 40. Now it's like $150, right? So I'm a winner on that. I bought stock in Square. Square's on fire, dude. COVID, forget about it. Forget about it. Cashless transaction, Teladoc, stuff like that, done deal. All those companies are doing really well. So yes, Maria, find an investment app. If you have some expendable money, yeah. I don't do a lot. I even bought Bitcoin. Not a lot. I bought, I don't know, $300 worth of Bitcoin, right? Through Coinbase, the Coinbase app. I bought a little Ethereum. Just a little bit. I figured if I lose it, it's money that I mean, this money I can stand to lose. So I didn't invest that much. Probably total about 1,500. But Acorns is a good idea. I think Acorns, if I'm not mistaken, it rounds up to like the nearest dollar, and then it puts that money away off every transaction. That's good. But I still think that most of you, I would think, if you have a job, you have direct deposit. Okay, so go to your bank or go to your human resources person and just have 20% sent to another account. And you won't even know it's not there, right? You won't miss it. You'll live without it for a while. You'll forget about it. And next thing you know, you look at it a couple of years down the road from now and it's $5,000. Done deal. Now we're talking. That's good money, right? That's good money. Okay. So yeah, I would encourage you, But what I would encourage Maria and anyone else who's thinking about it, I mean, unless you really get into it, really study, and you're really paying attention, but it's just risky for most people, I would not try to day trade. I would not try to pick stocks every day and watch them. You're not there. You're not there. Most of us aren't there. I would just go to your bank, find a mutual fund or an IRA, and just put money into it every month. That's the easiest thing to do. Okay. All right. You have your question. Google 2 terms, compound interest and equity. Explain both of them. If you have any questions, shoot me an email or shoot me a live chat right now. Maria, I hope I answered your question. You have your assignment in Canvas. Yes, Maria, start with the bank. That's the best place to do it. 100%. And whoa. Okay. Anthony, I'd love if you could elaborate on how to start a business as a tax shield and how to go about this more in a separate announcement. It's very interesting. Okay. Anthony, this is what I want you to do. I'm getting the hoarse throat right now. I want you to email me what business you think you want to start. Let's start with there. Start with that. And I'll reply. I'll reply to that and we'll just kind of take it from there. Right. And if anyone has any other questions, just shoot me an email. Okay. I think we're good. I'm out. Later, skater. Talk to you guys next week.